The Bruins aren't asking Lukas Reichel to be a hero in his Boston debut, but I, for one, would love to see it.
You're Locked On Bruins, your daily podcast on the Boston Bruins. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, Bruins fans? I am Ian McLaren, and this is a bonus episode of Locked On Boston Bruins, where we're taking another look ahead at tonight's massive game against the Winnipeg Jets. We are going to touch on some expectations for Lukas Reichel in his Boston Bruins debut. He's going to be skating on the third line with Elias Lindholm and Morgan Geekie. We'll also bring you everything you need to know prior to puck drop and reiterate how important this game is in terms of the projected playoff odds, win or lose. Let's start with Lukas Reichel, though. He was recalled yesterday from Providence on an emergency basis, and he will be making his Bruins debut tonight against the Winnipeg Jets. He will be skating on the third line with Lindholm and Geekie, and his welcome to TD Garden from his teammates seemed pretty positive. He said it feels good. I think the boys seem really nice. Can't wait to get to know them a little bit more. And he's really excited for the game and can't wait to get going. As far as Marco Sturm's expectations for the 23-year-old forward, he just wants him to be himself. He doesn't want him to be a hero. He doesn't want him to be any different. He's in Boston for a reason. They traded a modest return for him prior to the trade deadline, sending a 6th round pick to the Vancouver Canucks for a player who was drafted 17th overall in 2020. He had been traded by the Chicago Blackhawks, the team that drafted him, to Vancouver earlier this season for a 4th round pick. So his stock has fallen, but there are some tools there that could be beneficial to the Boston Bruins. Sturm is hoping he will give them a little bit of speed, a little bit of skill. He played some really good games in Providence with 1 goal, 4 assists for 5 points in only 3 games. And that's why Sturm said they're always looking at calling guys up. They have to earn it. And he's being called up before a Matt Poitra, before a Georgi Merkulov, before a Fabian Lysell, because he earned it down there in the few games in which he played, and that's why he got the call-up. Mikey Eyssimont and Alex Steeves have been rotating in and out of that third-line left-wing position. It was Minton centering that line for a while with Morgan Geekie. Minton has been promoted to the top line. Lindholm, Elias, and Geekie have been fairly quiet as of late. Eyssimont and Steeves, not really effective there either. So Reichel has an opportunity here to kind of re-energize that line. He's going out there, he said, to use his speed and to not be afraid to try something out there. He's got some offensive creativity, and he doesn't want to be afraid to make mistakes, nor does he want to be afraid of making some plays, taking a chance here and there. It's all about being good mentally, playing with energy, playing to win, and playing good defensively too. And of course, that is music to Marco Sturm's ears as well as those of Don Sweeney. It's a real opportunity for Lukas Reichel to kind of reclaim his NHL career, as I discussed on this morning's full episode of Locked On Boston Bruins. He has the skill, he's got the speed, and he has a reputation for being a fairly tenacious forechecker and backchecker, which is hugely important for players making the jump to the Boston Bruins. That's potentially a reason why, well, not potentially, but a reason why Fabian Lysell has not made the full-time jump. Matt Poitra as well. He's been very effective lately for the Providence Bruins, but the need right now is at that left-hand spot on the right side. I had talked earlier this season prior to the trade deadline about looking to acquire a scoring winger on the right side, and that was because Morgan Geekie had been playing primarily on the top line with David Pastrnak and rotating centers in and out. Geekie's fallen off a bit. having been moved away from David Pastrnak, but that right side is fairly strong, reputationally at least, with Pastrnak, Arvidsson, and Morgan Geekie. The left side, though, Casey Middlestat, you have Marat Husnudinov above him, AC Mott, Steves, sometimes Tanner Jeannot coming up there as well. The fourth line of Jeannot, Sean Corrali, Mark Kastelik has been playing very well as of late. So if they can bring in someone who can be creative but responsible at all ends of the ice in a Lukas Reichel, that could be the answer to some of the issues depth-wise on the left side. Alex Steves, perhaps prematurely rewarded with a contract extension. He's fallen off as the season has gone on, and Reichel might be the answer that they are looking for. Look, this guy had, again, 5 points in 3 games with Providence after 13 points in 23 games with the Abbotsford Canucks earlier this season. This will be the 5th team that he has played for in 2025-26. He had 5 games with the Chicago Blackhawks before getting traded, in which he had recorded 4 points. He had a single assist in 14 games with the Vancouver Canucks, and then stints in Abbotsford and Providence. He has shown some promise in the past, though. His sophomore season, 23 games with the Blackhawks, in which he had 15 points. He was sent down to the AHL that season and had 51 points in 55 games for the Rockford Ice Hogs, and then suddenly fell out of favor with both the former and current head coaches with the Chicago Blackhawks, and looking for a new lease on his NHL life here after not really being able to crack it with the Vancouver Canucks, which is a bit surprising considering their lack of forward depth and talent, but for whatever reason wasn't quite a fit and they were willing to move on. And that could be to Boston's gain. We'll see as early as tonight whether that will pay dividends. I know some Bruins fans not high on him, especially after his failed run in Vancouver. If you can't cut it there, then why are they taking a chance on him, especially with their need for young talent? They're kind of retooling at the moment, but I'm still fairly high on him, and I think he has a real chance to make an impact on that third line tonight for the Boston Bruins. What else is on the line tonight? What else do you need to know? Well, we'll give you all the latest news and notes prior to tonight's game here as this bonus episode of Locked On Boston Bruins continues. Workplace chaos, deadlines stacking up, inbox overflowing, and the one position you have to fill is still sitting open. When the pressure is on and you need the right hire, this is a job for sponsored jobs. Indeed, sponsored jobs help you reach the people who actually fit what you're looking for in terms of skills, experience, location, so you're not just hoping the right candidates stumble across your post. In the minute I've been talking to you, companies like yours made 27 hires on Indeed, according to their worldwide data. So if you're hiring, spend less time searching and more time interviewing candidates who check all your boxes with Indeed sponsored jobs. Listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to help get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. That's Indeed.com/podcast. Support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on Locked On Boston Bruins. Again, Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply, but if you need to hire, this is a job for Indeed sponsored jobs. There is nothing quite like being inside an NBA arena. The crowd, the energy, the moment. Getting tickets, though, that part hasn't always been so simple. And that's why Game Time has become the go-to app for scoring tickets fast without the hassle. Puts the advantage back where it belongs with the fans. I can pull up the Game Time app, pick an upcoming NBA game, and have tickets locked in within minutes. You get the all-in price up front, so there's no surprises at checkout. And being able to see the view from your seat before buying makes the decision even easier. Everything feels quick, intuitive, and stress-free from start to finish. Take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. That's code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today, and remember it's gametime.co, not .com. Great last-minute options with NBA tickets always showing up at solid prices. What else do you need to know in advance of tonight's game between the Boston Bruins and the Winnipeg Jets? This morning, I surmised that it might be Joonas Korpisalo who gets the start in net, seeing as Jeremy Swayman did a lot of heavy lifting on this road trip where they got 4 out of a possible 6 points, and with a very big game coming up Saturday in Detroit. But they're going back to Swayman, riding their number one goalie, the third best goalie in the league this season in terms of goals saved above expected and goals saved above expected per 60. He made 28 saves in the overtime loss to the Canadiens, 906 save percentage through 45 games this season. And look, you have to ride your number one goalie when he's playing this well. And I don't really have any problem with him starting tonight as long as he's back in net on Saturday against the Detroit Red Wings. Save Korpisalo maybe for that home game next week against the Toronto Maple Leafs, with a game in Buffalo set for the next night. Pavel Zacha is on a 3-game point streak, 3 goals and an assist over that stretch. He scored twice on Tuesday, new career high in goals with 22. And he has 3 power play goals in the last 7 games. Andrew Peeke remains in the lineup on the third pair with Nikita Zadorov. He and Henry Jokiharju have been alternating in that spot. I maybe would rather see Jokiharju in there, but Peeke is on the penalty kill. It's got an 88.9% success rate, which is 4th in the NHL since returning from the Olympic break, and they're looking to keep that going. The Jets are coming off a 4-3 shootout loss to the Nashville Predators on Tuesday, and they're 6th in the Central Division, 4 points out of the playoff picture, but it's going to be really, really tough for them to make up that ground. Cole Koepke has been playing for the Jets this season, 73 games for the Bruins last year before signing with Winnipeg as a free agent, 13 points through 51 games, skating on the 4th line with Morgan Barron and Brad Lambert, who is a guy that you definitely should keep an eye on. Now, the Bruins, with the win tonight, their playoff odds would increase drastically. It will be Swayman versus Olympic hero Connor Hellebuyck. And if the Bruins win in regulation, they will increase their playoff odds, according to Money Puck, to 70.3%. If they lose in regulation, they go down to 12.2%. If they beat the Jets in overtime, again, 2 points, same as winning in regulation, 70.3%. If they lose in OT, thereby picking up a single point, they will fall to 60.4%. So a lot on the line for the Boston Bruins tonight, and they cannot afford to drop a game to a Jets team that is pretty much out of it at this point. I wanted to end this bonus podcast by giving a major shout out to Colin Dorgan, whose high school team won the championship last night in quadruple overtime, and he scored the game tying goal to send this one to overtime with like 30 seconds left. He also had scored the game-winning goal in double overtime in a playoff game earlier this month. Now, Dorgan, of course, lost his mother, his brother, and his grandfather earlier this season when all 3 were killed in a shooting that erupted during a game with his Blackstone Valley co-op teammates. The shooting rattled the close-knit community, and what an inspiring end to the season for Dorgan and his teammates to be able to finish with a championship win. He said throughout all of the playoffs, even last night's game, all the overtimes, he truly felt it in his heart that they were still with him. He loves them so much, and a real fantastic finish to the season for Colin Dorgan and his teammates. just an incredible story, and just sending so much love to him, his friends, his family, everybody who stepped up to support him through this time. A great story there to end this podcast, to end their season. And I want to thank you so much again for making Locked On Bruins part of your daily routine. Thank you for helping make Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. Please do subscribe on your favorite podcast app and on YouTube if you have not done so already. Please check out the Everydayer Club. You'll get access to our Discord server and ad-free episodes of Locked On Boston Bruins. And you will also, be able to participate in our group chats over there. Follow along on social media at Locked NHL Bruins, TikTok, Instagram, X, Threads, and also take care of yourselves, take care of each other. Go Bruins. Enjoy the game tonight, and we'll talk to you again here on the next episode of Locked On Boston Bruins, your favorite team every single day.